Hey everybody, Hat Creature here, and today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different for VHS. So in this video, I'll be making my hopefully educated guesses at what monsters we can possibly see in the future of VHS. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How can I possibly make these guesses and even be close to being right when the game hasn't even come out in beta? But that's actually the beauty of how this game is made and has been portrayed so far. See, they've already given us all the clues we need. Hopefully, they might be red herrings. But the entire game is based around movies, horror movies. As you can see here, it takes place in a video store. All these kids are members of a horror movie fan club, and they get trapped within their favorite films and chased by the monster from those movies. Every single one of these teenagers has a favorite film. Dollmaster, for example, is right actually over here. See if I can show you. Right there. Dollmouth. This guy is from the film. And since this is a video store, we can just take all the movies currently in the video store and, basically guess what we'll be seeing in the future. So what can we see in the future? Well, I'm going to do something wild. I'm just going to make a really horrible guess first and then go into the real ones. First off, I am absolutely serious about this shark right here. Obviously, this is a little, a little homage, a little nod to Jaws. Of course it is. Now, I made a joke over in the Discord, or at least everybody thought it was a joke. I was being serious. What if we could get a shark killer? Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds absolutely stupid, but the animations in this game are smooth. They feel good. I just go over the gameplay, the way the characters move, the models, how it feels. It all feels, it feels amazing. And the way you can do a shark isn't actually that okay, I'm not a game designer. I'm not going to say it's not complex. But basically how I would see a shark in this game is that it moves through the floor. You see a giant fin sliding through the floor, through the map. It swims down the stairs, up the stairs. That would be it. And whenever it quote-unquote attacks, it'll kind of surface onto the ground and, do a lunge attack, going forward. Maybe it'll go onto the surface and then do a tail whip attack. And then when it's not attacking, it's back underneath. Its strength could be that it's harder to hit than most creatures. You'd have to pinpoint, the fin or fins, depending how they want to do it. But you could potentially make a shark monster in this game just by having it go through the floor and defy the laws of physics. And then there's that one. But I'd like to show you a whole bunch of other movies that are on display in this video store, and we can guess what kind of monsters we'll be seeing. Okay, so right here we actually have a few clues. Here's Dollmouth once more. Here's Wart, which is the fish monster. And here's How High, which is the werewolf. These are the three monsters we're getting when the game comes into beta and on release. But we have three more films down here and two over here, actually. They're just really blurry. So right here, Streets of Slay is actually one of the favorite films of one of the teenagers, and I'll show you that. So right here, Streets of Slay. According to the description, it says, "It's hard to be a slayer of mutants when everyone treats you like a punk." Now, seeing this imagery, seeing that it's about mutants, my first thought is that if this particular video can be chosen for a future monster, I'm thinking it'll be a sort of similar to a cannibalistic humanoid underdweller, or Chud for short. See, they're mutants. They live underneath the streets. This was made in the 80s, which this entire game is based around. So we could be seeing something similar to these creatures in Streets of Slay. Next up, we have some other ones. It's actually kind of hard to show you from the video, but Electroforce. You will believe the strongest force in nature is electricity. Now, it's actually kind of interesting. My uncle, when I was growing up, a horror movie he wanted to see. I hope he did get to see it one day. But a horror movie he really wanted to see was Lightning, all about lightning being the monster. And then, you could have an entire trilogy about just bad weather. And later on, they did do that on the Sci-Fi Channel. It was absolutely horrible. But that's basically what I think this is. But that's not what they're going to do. I mean, they could just have a ball of energy just floating around the halls, shooting electricity in people. But this is the 80s, so I was thinking it'd be something similar to Shocker. In Shocker, this guy is executed on death row, and he basically becomes a ghost supercharged with electricity. Although most of the film he actually is similar to Freddy Krueger, but he lives in the TV realm instead of the dream world. But it's basically what I'm thinking is kind of like this. Some dude who has the power of energy, the power of electricity, and maybe he'll be shooting a beam attack forward, or maybe he'll have a tri-electric attack. It goes in 3 separate directions. You can't see my hands because I don't have my camera on. But that's, something similar. It doesn't have to be a prisoner. I mean, the cover of the film is on a skyrise. So who knows? It might just be some janitor got struck by lightning and is all decomposing. Who knows? But I think it'd be something similar to Shocker. Next up, we have Ace Star Tracer. Now, I don't know if you can really see it. This is actually episode 10 in the Galactical Paradox. But it does say Classic Trilogy. So even though there are like 10 films on their fan club cards, it actually does say Trilogy. So thank goodness that every single one of these movies actually had at least 3. Because not everybody gets that kind of luck. But A Star Tracer, so in space. Now, offhand, it doesn't really look like a horror film. It kind of reminds you more of Star Wars, especially with this little ball here, looking like the Death Star. But there are options. Now, my first thought was actually a robot. There were a lot of horror movies, sci-fi films with killer robots. But they were actually all in the 60s and not the 80s. That doesn't mean that they can't do a robot, a killer android, and have a space station map. I mean, that's just beautiful. It sounds amazing. All the colors, retro. It's awesome. But since it's the 80s, and if they really do want to stick to things that would have been in the 80s, they'll probably just do an alien, which isn't bad. And I would love to see their version of an alien. I mean, the ideas they've come up with so far, the werewolf, the dollmaster, the wart, they're all classic, beautiful creatures. The werewolf and the fish monsters are actually monsters from the 40s, but, they're updated for the 80s, so perhaps we could see a creature from the 60s updated for an 80s era. Who knows? But that's my prediction for A Star Tracer. Either an android or, the obvious option of just an alien. Okay, now if we play the video a little bit. Whoops, too far. My bad. A little bit. Okay, let me move the screen. There you go. So right here, Spectre Collector. This is obviously, an homage to Ghostbusters. Sure, we believe in ghosts. And it's, they're collecting ghosts. So this is obviously Ghostbusters. I don't think we'll have a Ghostbusters chapter in this game. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll have licensed content, but that's not actually... my bad. That's not actually the goal of this game, as far as I know. But as far as Spectre Collector and what I think we could have... Oh my gosh. There we go. It's obviously going to be a ghost, but what kind of ghost? The 80s had some really weird movies. We had Ouija board... Sorry, I was born in the 90s. They had Ouija board movies. The imagination was way out there. And I write horror fiction myself, and I can't even compare to the stuff that came out of the 80s. So when it comes to ghosts, it could literally be anything. I mean, they had an entire film about an invisible guy, and the movie was literally just women basically killing themselves while you had some dude talking over it. You know, he's supposed to be invisible, but that's how the movie was made, and it was just hilarious. I don't remember the name of that one. So over here, it's really hard to see. Like, this is the last frame before you can actually see it, and I can't actually zoom into it. It says Camp Something. Camp Something Trap. So, since it's the 80s, Jason is from the 80s, we have a camp. That's not saying we're getting Jason. It's actually saying that there were hundreds of films based around summer camps with slashers. The Burning, for example, came out, I believe, after Friday the 13th one, maybe around the same time as the sequel. I believe Tom Savini was working on it. The Burning was amazing. I really enjoyed that film. Now, that guy actually had like a flamethrower at the end of the film, but what I'm saying is that slasher movies around camps were a dime a dozen. They were all over the place. The imagination is out there. You can't accurately predict something about a summer camp killer because there is no limit to what you could do. There's a movie with a killer lawnmower that's a parody of Jaws. There's no limit to the imagination that could come out of a summer camp. So, no. Your guess is as good as mine. Also, here's a better photo of Electroforce 3. Lightning strikes thrice. That's nice, I like that. And now over here, we're back to the fan cards. All the membership cards for all the people inside the horror movie club. Now, we have Brett. Oh my gosh, it's just not... There we go. Brett, Faith, Gloria, Jess, and Leo. Now, we already went over Streets of Slay. Now, The Curse of Alizarin. This doesn't actually look like a horror film series to me, since it's actually about assassins, and Jess herself is the sneak class, the assassin class in the game. All the characters have, you know, their own theme and their own perks. I'll definitely be playing Jess when the game comes out, because, you know, we just click. But her film, the first thing I actually think is kind of like a haunted house series, but it's about assassin, and it's about artifacts, so it's more like Indiana Jones. Ugh, that's difficult. If anybody can make a guess at this, good job, because this is far out there and very abstract. It could literally be anything. You literally can't judge it by its cover, and that's awesome. Let's see. Forbidden Amethyst is not actually a horror film. According to Faith's bio, she doesn't like horror movies at all, but she adores clubs. And that's why she's here, and that's why Amethyst Dreams isn't a horror film series, unless it is. Who knows? But, I mean, the caption, you can probably barely see it. Torn between duty and love, a forbidden romance ignites and threatens the entire realm. It's obvious like a teen romance series, and I think that's really cool. But you never know. I don't know if anybody has seen, what's it called? Slumber Party Massacre 2. In that film, there was a driller killer. The slasher was just literally like a supernatural rock star that had an amazing electric guitar with a drill at the end. And the whole film is just like a fever dream of just like epic proportions, like all over the place. And no matter how goofy it was still a slasher movie. So Forbidden Amethyst, you know, it could be anything. Maybe we could get something from this film. Who knows? Maybe it'll be like Demonic Toys, which is actually made the year I was born, but that was in the 90s. Still beautiful, and it has all the aesthetics of the 80s. Perhaps we could just get a killer giant teddy bear. Who knows? The sky is the limit. The imagination, it's so far out there. There's so much that they can do with this game. The possibilities of content, there's no limit. Because you can just keep going. They can keep going. there's so much you can do, and it just fills me with excitement and joy. And I believe that's actually the last one. Here's actually a closer look. Do not feed the shark. Do feed the sharks. That's nice. How high too, I believe. And that's it. That's all we got. Those are all the bios and all the films we currently have on display. So we might be getting an android, might be getting an alien. I'm thinking sort of a ghostly apparition with electrical powers, for sure. We may get a shark. And yeah. What about you guys? Can you guys come up with something based on the films we have in the trailers and the fan cards? Now, all these fan cards, they all have bios. Hopefully you can read them. You can always pause the video. Great information on all the characters. We don't have any for the monsters, though. I am hoping we're going to be seeing some soon, because I would love to know more about the monsters. But we'll probably be seeing that when the beta comes out. Hopefully I get accepted. I'm so excited for this. I got lost. I got lost just now. But anyway, what about you guys? Oh, yeah, the videos. My bad. So, all the information, the fan cards, is actually from the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord for Hellbent Games, I'll try to leave a link down below. Or you can just go to Hellbent Games themselves. They have all the information on their channel. So I got all this from their Discord and from the VHS reveal trailer and the deep dive for the Dollmaster. That is where I got all this information. So you can go over it with a fine-tuned code yourself, and hopefully you can find something I missed. What monsters do you think we'll be getting in the future? There is no limit. And I love that about this game. I am beyond excited. I can't wait to play it. I'm going to be playing it all over my channel. I'm just going to keep going, and it's going to be my new thing. And I hope you're there to join me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, have a great day.